Hello, 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 folks. How's it going? Ah, wow, the layout changed. Definitely. Anyways, welcome back. Uh, yep, welcome back. We are going to continue and complete the third part of the session. And once done, I know, right? Long time no see. Anyways, yeah. So as I was saying, we are going to complete the third part of the session, and once done, like once we reach towards the end of it, depending on the time, we will try and make some issues, create some issues on GitHub, and if not, I will create it later. Also, I will add some bits and pieces of code uh, by end of today. Uh, tidy this whole thing up, probably add some comments wherever necessary, wherever possible, uh, to kind of denote what exactly is happening in this code and why are we doing certain things the way we are doing it. Example, let's say our color input. Uh, you know, what are these things? What is this color input about? So let's say currently, color input is being used in app.jsx, right? Yeah, here we are calling it. And when you hover over it, all it gives you these things, right? But you can actually make it more informative by adding a JS doc saying that there is a color value. Okay, it takes the input as color value. Uh, type is what is the type of it? We decided it's type of string. Okay. Similarly, we can say that it takes on change color. It is function. Let's say this is string, this is function. Yeah, spelling is correct. And what does this do? So the color value is the hex color value, and the on change color value passes the color to the parent. And what is this color input about? Component which has hex, RGB, and HSL color input, right? So now if I go over to app.jsx and hover over this, it will give me a better description of what this component is about. It will give me a better uh, description of all the params that are being passed, what is the type of it, and what are the description. So you can kind of then add more things to it, this like returns color input component. Then you can add an example of how to use this, right? So you can say that someone can use it by doing something like this. Now if I go to app.jsx and hover over it, it gives you an example, it gives you what it returns. So it's easy for someone else to come in and they start using your component, and they're like, okay, what does this do? Just very simply hover over it and it will show you how to use it, what are the descriptions of each of the parameters that it takes, uh, what is this component about. You can of course add more lines of description and stuff, but I hope you get the idea, like how to use it. Okay, so I'll add these JS doc on every component which we have created. Similarly, you could do for the functions that you have created. So like example in this one, I can say like it takes in what index, and in like currently if I hover over it, param index and param value, that's it. But I can define like, this is index, this is value, and what it does could define that. uh, Handle the change of RGB color. You can destructure it to get RGB comma G, comma B, like some description like this. Okay, so then you get a description of what this function is about. And also for someone reading the code, it's helpful and it's easy to understand. So I'll add these things when we like, maybe not today, or maybe today, end of day today, but at some point I will add these things, and then you can check out the other things that need to be changed in the code. Okay, so without any further ado, let's move on. Also, if you have not yet registered, you can do so by going to this particular link. And anyone who's joining right now for the first time, you can find the code base right here. So register here, code base here. Okay, please do register. And yeah, before going, what we were doing was resolving one of these issues, which was customize the color slider, right? So let's continue completing it. We had added the custom slider.css, and we had added the custom slider, which took in some important, I would say, props. And now we need to add the prop validation for it. So let me add that. Also, let me get out of here. Let's quickly add some prop validation. We need to first import prop types. What is this custom slider dot prop types, and it takes in multiple actually. So this is going to be like a long list, I would say, in a way, but let's see, we'll figure it out. So we have first the min, which is prop types dot number dot is required, of course, and then we'll have the min and then the max. Sorry, so max is also going to be a number and is required. Then the value. Now this is going to be tricky, right? So value, it needs to be either a number or a string. Okay, and why I say a number or a string, because when we pass it via RGB color input, let's say, yeah, right here. So instead of like, let's say for the R, instead of doing like 0 like this, you could do 0 and 255, and it will still work. Like I reload it and you can see that it still works. So that is why the value prop could be either a string or a number. So this would be prop types dot one of type. Okay, we are defining the types, like there are multiple types that it could be one of the following types. It could be prop types dot number, or it could be prop types dot string, and of course it is required. Then on change, it would be of course a function. So prop types dot function dot is required, and the gradient, right, it would be prop types dot string dot is required. Okay, so these are the types for our this functionality. We created this CSS, and I said that before we went on our 1 hour break, told you that we could also customize this blue thingy. And the blue thingy, I say, is basically called a thumb. Okay, and we can customize that. So the way you would do it is, let's say you would do something like slider and then dash webkit dash slider dash thumb, and we would say dash webkit dash appearance none. Interesting. Width 16 pixels, height 16 pixels. Uh, you can set the background color for it. So let's say I'm going to say it's RGBA. It's going to be white. And let's say if it's pure white. Okay, let's say it's pure white. Also, we can set a border to it. So 1 pixel, solid, black. You can have a border radius 50%, cursor to be pointer, and margin top. Actually, let's see. What does it look like right now? So there's its okay, white in color. I want the opacity to be like 0.7 so that it's white kind of, but also can show you the color, like where you're going visually. So what if I make this transparent? Looks much better. The border could be white, and this could be like 2 pixels, let's say. So now I think it's better to see which color we are on, right? So you could customize the thumb like this. Yeah. So I think this looks better, right? You can kind of see which color, like which part of the color we are on. So I'll leave it as is. So that's our thumb. Yep, the thumb color. And yeah, true. Agreed. Yep. Oops, sorry. Uh, okay, and we have used it in this one. I will change this back to like numbers just for the consistency purpose, as seen below. And what else? Oh, we also have to use this in HSL, right? Now, HSL is going to be tricky. Let's see if it works out properly. So HSL input, why is it tricky? Because in HSL, so this is HSL, it is a range of colors. Okay, like starts from red, goes like kind of a 360. That's why it goes from 0 to 360. Starts at red, ends at red, has multiple colors in between. The saturation is how gray or how like opaque that color is, in a way you can say. And the lightness is of course how black or how white that color is. So if it is like this much light, and it is, let's say, this blue, and then I start moving this, kind of gives you this thing about, okay, how dark green do you want, or how light should it be, right? So that is why the slider for this one is going to be a bit tricky, but I'm pretty sure we'll figure it out. Okay, so the div tag that's here, okay, that we can close quickly. We can have a div class name of what, margin top of 4 space dash y dash 2, right? That's what we did here. Yeah. And what would be the next? Of course, calling the custom slider. Custom slider, and it needs these props. So let's say min is 0, max is 60. Value, if you remember, we'll have to do the whole is nan h, then 0 else h. So we can show 0 if it is not a number. Okay. Because what would be an empty string to this? I mean, we could do empty string, frankly, uh, the way we did it here. But let me think. Okay, let's figure it out as we go along. So value is done, and on change, what's going to happen is it's going to take e, and it will go to the handle HSL input change, right? Which will say that on the position 0, parse float to e dot target dot value or 0, right? And for the gradient, it's going to be a string, and we will say it's going to be a linear gradient. And now how do we define the colors? So we'll say it goes to right, of course, to the right hand side, from the left to right. But the colors, now this is going to be very simple actually, now that I think about it. All you want is the red, the yellow, the lime, the cyan, the blue, the magenta, and then back to red, right? So you could just do red, yellow, lime, cyan, blue, magenta, and red. So if I go over to this one, it's there somewhere, just not visible apparently. Okay, we'll fix that later. Mm. Oh, needs to be comma. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and that's our colors. And if you see, if we move it here, everything else changes. Doesn't that look so cool? Maybe we could make the color picker be more rounded, probably. But I'm not too worried about it yet. So from 0 to 360. So when it kind of encounters the not number, it will set it to 0 or something. Okay. Similarly, we need to do for saturation, and there is a comment. Saturation equals to intensity. Yeah. Okay. Yes. That Yeah, that's better English, at least than what I was saying. Uh, okay. Okay. So saturation, let's add the custom slider for saturation, and you can go what min would be 0 in this case, max would be 100. The value would be, if is not a number, then in that case set it to 0, else saturation into 100. And similarly on change would be, you can call this event as well, just saying, okay, for future reference. Sometimes people use e, sometimes people use event. You can call it anything you want. Oh, not parse float. And this would be like, now it would be event dot target dot value divide by 100 or 0. Okay. Now what about the gradient? What should that look like? So we know that it should be linear gradient, but then we need to do some calculations inside it. Okay. Example, depending on the HSL value, and yeah, mostly HSL value actually. So that is why in this case we are going to use template string, and we will say that it is going to be linear dash gradient. It is going to go to right, Now HSL, in that we will say that it's going to be color of HSL with whatever is the value of H, then 0%, then value of L into 100%, and then what else? It would be HSL of dollar curly brackets H to 100%, right? To 100% to dollar curly brackets L into 100%. So from 0 to 100 is where we are going. So for whatever is the hue that you're selecting, we want the saturation to go from 0 to 100 of that color. And definitely there's some color changes that probably need to do, but at least for the time being, it seems okay. It's nearly right, probably because of the lightness. Once we fix that, this would be better. So linear gradient to right hand side, and what we are saying is that take the HSL value that you have and put that in. Okay, put that in, right from the hue to saturation 0% to saturation 100%. Okay, and finally we have the lightness one. So custom slider, uh, min goes to 0, max goes to 100. Can I copy over from this one, saturation lightness value, and on change I'm copying over from the input. So value is nan of L, then I, for everything I'm putting 0, so 0. Else, instead of math dot round, we will just say L into 100. Yep. And then on change would be E handle HSL input change on position 2, parse float, E dot target dot value divided by 100 or 0. And now what about the gradient? How do we set that? So gradient, again, it would be something like linear dash gradient. Okay, now we need to do some calculations again. So to right, of course, we'll go towards the right hand side. We will do HSL. And now in this case, the S part is what needs to, HSL of a bracket that starts here. Okay, so $H. So that's whatever is the H value. Then 0%, no, not 0%. What it would be? It would be actually S into 100%, whatever is the saturation, comma 0%. Okay, and then from there we want to go up to dollar whatever is the hue in comma saturation into 100, so S into 100%, and then what else? We will add a 50% in between. So from 0% to 50% to 100%. So from black to white with some gray in between. So 0 to S into 100 into comma 50%, comma HSL of uh, whatever is the hue, comma dollar S into 100%, comma 100%. Okay, so if you have to read this, you can see it in this manner. Okay, this makes more sense. So from whatever is the hue, then the saturation, of course, and then 0 to 50 to 100 is what we are doing. Similarly, if I have to show this, you can go this. No idea why this is going on the next line. Oh, and then need to close this, right? Okay. I think that should be it. Okay, so there we go. So 0 to 50 to 100. So now if I move this towards, like, let's say pink, let me reload this. Okay, so if I move this towards this yellow, saturation goes from 0 to, like, no saturation, HSL, lightness. Lightness goes to 100, right? And there we go. The only problem with this white selector is when the lightness is 100%, the white and white, they kind of are lost. So probably instead of making it pure white in the CSS, we could make it a bit of gray. Ah, that looks bad on red. So need it white, but somewhere here. Okay, it's at least visible here. Okay, this needs to be more white. But okay, uh, this could be figured out later, kind of. But let's say this is where we kind of stand right now. Okay, not bad, not bad, I would say. Okay, any questions so far? I know what we have done till now is just adding the inputs, but at least we got this figured out. So if nothing else, you can at least use the website right now to convert the colors, right? Let's move to the next bit. Let me push this. I don't see any issues yet. I think this looks good. Everything works as we want it. So probably can push it. Yeah. So get status. Yeah, we added the custom slider. What we did was added custom slider and updated RGB, HSL inputs, right? Wait, I made it on a main branch. Wow. Come on. Did I not create the branch last time? Mm-hmm. Yep. I need to revert the commit. Okay, so what do we need to do? I could do git reset head, right? I think this should work. Git reset head and unstaged, yep. And we got all four of them. Perfect. So git checkout dash b and color dash slider. Okay, so now we are on a new branch, and now if I check the status on this branch, okay, looks good. Let me also confirm git branch. Yep, looks good. I'm going to copy this and keep it. Now I'll do git add, git commit, git push origin, this thing. So when I had to revert the commit, uh, like ideally what you would do, if let's say you had made multiple commits but you never pushed it, so you could do git log dash dash one line. It will show you how many commits you have made till now, and then you could reset to like last three commits. So do head tilde one, the way I did. So git reset, I did head tilde one, which means go to the last. If I had to go back two commits, which are in local, they are not pushed, they are in local, you could do head two or head three, something like that. Okay, so let me create this quick PR, and yeah, I think this is good. There we go. And what happens if I actually close this? What do you think would happen? Let's see. Squash and merge. No, not really. I want to update this. Edit. Perfect. Resolves issue. This one, update, and yep, merge, confirm merge, and delete branch. And if I go in here, yep, this merged and resolved. Close with comment. Okay, perfect, done. Uh, yeah, I know, right? I forgot it again. Seriously, what is wrong with me? Anyways, going back. Finally, contrast grid, where we are going to do the actual magic of generating the contrast grid. So till now, what we have done is we have our inputs created. We can add an input. We can uh, update the colors, have a visual output of the colors. But what have we not done till now is generate the contrast grid. Okay, so how do we generate the contrast grid? Oh, thank you so much. That is so sweet. So how do we get generate the contrast grid? Well, we are going to go to our favorite library that we are using, right? We are going to use Chroma to generate the contrast grid. So there's a scale. Yeah, chroma.scale. Yeah, this is the one that we had seen, right? So we're going to use this chroma.scale to generate the colors, we are going to say tell it that generate the color from the lighter shade of the base color to the darker shade of the base color. And there is a mode. So there's a mode called as lab. So let me see if you can find it here. Yeah. So lightness, like the lab mode, is what we are going to use so that it is more of a uniform color. Okay. So it goes from like whatever is the initial value to the maximum value, but uniformly. It does not jump as such. So we are going to use that lab functionality of it. And it's you use the lab color spacing. So what, yeah, there it is. Lab lightness A to B. Yeah, this is the perfect way to explain it. So lightness A to B, from your one reference point to another reference point, we want a from light to dark generation of colors. So that is one of the modes that we are going to use. Then the colors, like how many colors do we want to generate? And I guess that should be it, right? Yeah. So in our case, how many colors do we want to generate? So we would want to generate at least, like, I think 11 colors. Yeah. So 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 7, 9, 950. So from 50 to 950, I think this is 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. So 11 colors is like we want to generate 11 colors totally. So that's what we will do in generate contrast grid. We'll generate 11 colors. And then what about the text color here? Okay. So we also need to write some functionality, which will be like, from on a lighter background, you want a darker shade of text, and on a darker background, you want a lighter shade of text, right? So we also need to write some code for that. And what else? I think that should be it. Yeah, let's finish this very quickly. Step one, first need to check out to main branch. Okay. Step two, it pull everything. Step three would be to create the branch. So git checkout dash b this thing. So this time I'm not going to miss it, definitely. Okay, so we are on a new branch. I hope we have installed everything on the new branch. Should not, yeah. Okay, up to date and stuff. Okay, not a problem. What else? Well, we need to, yeah, you create a new file, right? So in our components, we can create a new folder. We can call it contrast checker. So why am I calling it contrast checker? Because it will house a few things. It would have the contrast grid first, and then it would also have the whole WCAG contrast checker thing. So yeah, I'll call it contrast checker. And inside this, we will have generate contrast grid colors. JSX. Okay, so generate contrast grid colors. Okay, perfect. what do we need here? We need to import chroma.js, of course, right? So import chroma from chroma.js. That is good. What else do we need? Right now, I will just create a total shades variable, and it is outside of our component because it is going to be always constant. Okay, so that is why I'm creating it outside of my component. So total shades 11, and then what else? Um, mm, let's create the functionality of const shades, and we are going to use the use memo hook. Now, what is use memo hook? We saw use state. It is used to manage the states, right? Let me come on screen. Maybe then I'll be able to explain it better. So what was use state? It was to capture the value of a variable locally, like keep it in sync with everything that is happening, right? So there was a value and set value. Wherever we want to change or update the value, we call the set value, which automatically updates the value variable. Now, in case of use effect, that was like the use effect hook. The idea is that it runs whenever the past array of things, like array of values, that changes, or you can make it run on the initial render or something. So we used use effect in here, right? So we say that whenever, like where this dependency array, whenever the color value changes, we want this functionality to kind of run. Okay, so that was the use effect. Now you can pass multiple things to it. You can say that whenever the debounced hex input changes, then run it, or when on change color changes, run it. When both of them change, of course, run it. If you want it to run only once, only for the first time, do not pass this, and then it will only run for the first time. Okay, when the page loads for the first time, when this component loads for the first time, only run it then. Now, in case of use memo, is you want something to not get calculated on every render. Okay, so unnecessary recalculations, whenever you want to avoid that, then you use the use memo hook, which is, the memo stands for memoized. Okay, so use memo is for memoizing the computation of color shades. Why we are memoizing it? Why do we not want to generate it again and again? Because once we, like, we'll have a button on, like, in the color input, below that somewhere we will have a button on click of which it will run this you like the shades function. Okay, and it will generate the colors. Now we change the input again. I don't want the grid to change unless the user actually goes and clicks on the uh, grid generate colors button. So that is why we are memoizing it. Also, from a future perspective, we don't want it to run again and again when you have multiple sections. Okay, right now we only have like one section, which is this, which we will name later as, let's say, primary. When we create a new section below this, a secondary, changes in secondary should not trigger a re-render on the changes in primary, and there's no need for recalculation or anything there. So that is why we are going to memoize it. But we will add a dependency. We will say that only when the base color changes. What is the base color? We can add that here later, or like right now. We can say that whenever the base color changes, then and only then ensure, like, that new shades are generated. Okay, so hopefully that is kind of understandable. Let me go again from here, and you can focus on the screen and use memo, and that will be function that calls chroma. dot scale. Okay, so now chroma dot scale. uh okay, from where to where are we going? We are going to say that go from chroma of the base color and brighten it at like 1.5 times in a way. From there to chroma of base color to darken it by like, let's say 20%. So 2. And wait, where did it start? Chroma dot scale, and scale closes here. Then dot mode. And what mode? As I said, there are multiple. We'll go for the lab mode, which is nicer because it generates color in uniform manner. And then dot colors. How many colors do we want? That would be equal to the total number of shades that we have suggested. And then we will map over every color that comes back from here. Like, let's say 11 colors will be generated. Not let's say, 11 colors will be generated. We want to convert it to chroma object. So that's why I'm doing this chroma color. And then we want to run this when base color changes, and that should be it. Okay, so that is our shades that gets generated. So chroma dot scale from base color to like base color from this to that, from light to dark, mode lab, and total shades, and this and this. Perfect. Now what else? Now let's actually what should we do next? We could actually generate these colors, right? So inside the div, actually, let's do this. Add a class name here, and this would again be a grid. This would be a grid calls 1. Okay, on more than smaller screen. So like when it goes above small, it should be grid dash calls dash 3. On medium size and above, it should be grid calls 4. And on large and above, it should be grid calls 11. So 1 row, 11 columns. Okay, so that's what we have said here. Now we need to map over the shades that we created. So shades dot map, it will have two things. It would have the shade, of course, like each shade, and index. Index is going to be the position in a way. So now we will say the step. Okay, we need to add some step or the naming kind of. So we can do that by saying const step equals to, when index is 0, in that case call the color as the step 50. Else, when index is exactly equal to total shades minus 1, so like from 0 to 10 is what it will go, right? Because total shades, if it is 11, when we map over it, the index will go from 0 to 10. So when it is this, in that case call it 950, else index into 100. So what am I doing here? Basically this naming, this 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, and 950. So when the index is 0, call it 50. When the index is 10th, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, call it 950. And when it is anything else, like 1 to 9, so 1 into 100, 2 into 100, 200. So you see, that's how we are generating the naming of the steps, let's say. What else? I think right below this actually, right? we can do the return statement. So we can say return, we'll create a div, and what would be the key? It would be the shade dot hex color, which should be unique, or it could also be the step actually. That would always be unique, I guess, right? The class name would be p-2, let's say text center. So there would be some padding around it. Text center. What would be the background color? So we can use our style, okay, and we can say that the background color should be the shade dot hex color, or you could do the css color, I think, in this case now, and the color should be equal to the text color that we have not created actually yet, so we can fix that later. Okay, and inside this we will have a p tag and can add a class name to it, like it should be font light. And what should it display? It should display the step. Okay, so font light and display the step. Then we can have a p tag again with the class name of font medium. And now what should this display? It should display the shade dot the hex value of it dot to uppercase. Okay, so it would always be like capitalized. So that's what the second thing we can display. And what else? Actually, this should be it. Okay, what's the error? Base color is missing in prop validation. Let me see if this quick fix, oh, it only allows you to disable things. uh, Let me add the prop types. So import prop types from prop types, and let's quickly fix this. So generate contrast grid colors dot prop types, and that should be equal to the base color, which would be a string, right? So base color, which would be prop types dot string dot is required. Oh, why did I add a minus? Sorry, equal to. So that should be the prop types, which is kind of now defined. And the button, right? So I said that we need to call this on click of some button. So let's add that button. Where should that button go? You can put it in color input, right? Let me think. So the color input, what is that doing? Actually, we can put it in app.jsx. Yeah. So after the color section, uh, I'm still thinking. Wait, yeah, I think this should be the perfect place to put it, because our on change color is already being called. So our on change color would have updated everything here. So we can put the button right below this color input. So we need to validate the color. That's the first step. Then we need to add some state variable to hold that color. Okay, and then create a button which Yeah, then create a button on click of which it should generate the color. Okay, yeah, let's do that. So we can do const generated color, comma set generated color, and initially it is null, so there's no generated color. Okay, so now what would be the next step? We should validate the colors, but before that, we can add a function, a handle generate colors function, because we are going to click on a button. So I guess we could do that. We could yeah, let's do that. So we can say const handle generate colors, and what is this going to be? We can, what could we do? Let me think. Let me think. I feel like I'm complicating it a bit. Do I really need that? Yeah, I don't think so. Wait, let's try it this way first. Let me add a button here. Okay, let's say a button, and I will say on click it should all the handle generate colors. Okay, and that's it. We'll call the button as generate colors, and now this handle generate colors, let's create a very quick function. So const handle generate colors, all it does is, what would it do? Const handle generate colors, it is going to check if, or not even that actually, just do a set generated color to be equal to the color, right? Yeah, and now below this we can call the generated contrast grid colors, and what does that need? It needs the base color, right? So we could just do that. So base color, and that is equal to the generated color. Okay, but let's see, something is broken. What did I break? Cannot read properties of null reading slice. Okay, so that's because the generated color is currently null. Okay, cool. And now if I change this, okay, click on generate colors. Okay, perfect, that works, right? Just need to style it. Yeah, I was thinking like I'm making it too complicated. uh, we can style it very simply by doing class name equals to, there needs to be a padding x of 2, a padding y of 1. We can, what about the background color of the button? We can set the background color of the button to be same as this chosen color. Okay, so also let me add some border. So border dash 2. uh, yeah, this looks good. Now the background color, we can actually set that to style using background color to be equal to the color, right? So that sets the background color. Okay. The only problem is if this is a lighter shade, the generate color text looks good, but if it's a dark shade, the generate color looks bad. So what could we do here? Uh, mm, we could change the text color, right? We could change the text color depending on the background. Let me think. Uh, yeah, could do that. Just feels a bit much, I feel, right now. But maybe that could be an additional feature for later. Uh, styling the button, we could do some more things. Uh, actually, PY, let's put that to 2. And PX dash 4. Uh, rounded, rounded LG. And of course, we have given it a border. We can reduce the border to this. And what about the border color? So border dash slate dash 200. I think that's good. Rounded Excel. Uh, MD. Okay. The text color. Okay, that now starting to look bad. So we could make the text as slate dash 300. That's more white. Yeah, perfect. What about this button? We could center align that. So let me wrap it in a quick div, let's say, and div around this section. Okay. So this div, we could just say class name is uh, text dash center mx dash photo margin top of 6. I think that should do the trick. Yeah. What about margin bottom? We could give it some margin bottom as well. So margin top 6. So I want margin y, my. Oh, bad idea. Need to give this something. So we can wrap this in a div as well. The generated colors, and give it a class name of my-6. Okay, much better, right? And when it is at this large screen, that's good. When it becomes smaller, looks a very nice. Sorry, give me a second. Sorry, I had to ban someone. Okay, coming back. So there we go. So at least our generated shades are here. If this is a lighter color, generated shades, yeah, this looks much better, right? The only problem is the text color. Two places that we need to change it. We need to change it on this, right? So once whatever is the background, depending on that, whatever is the foreground color. So we need that. Plus this button still looks ugly. I need to fix that as well. For the time being, let's focus on the contrast grid colors one. So we can after this generate memo, we can add a new function very quickly to, we can call it generate text or get text color. Okay, so const get text color, it takes the input of a background color, so bg color, and what it will do is we will tell it to create the luminance equals to chroma of whatever is the background color dot luminance. And very good question here, is there a way to change the text color inversely related to background intensity? And yes, that is what I'm going to do. You're going to calculate the luminance of the background color, and then depending on that, we can simply return that if luminance is greater than 0.5, in that case the background color needs to be black, else it needs to be white. Okay, so that is our get text color. And now the place where we are calculating the steps, just below this, we can also calculate the set the text color, not calculate, set the text color to be get text color of a shade, whatever is the generated shade, right? And where do we use it? Very simply, here we can say it should be equal to the text color that we have created here. So now if we go, depending on the luminance, it seems like white is the best color, but let's say if it is this light and I click on generate colors, so for lighter shades the color is black on it, and for the darker shades the color is white on it. And let's quickly check the contrast. This is bad, 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 this is good. Okay, so even though we have generated something, it is still not there. Okay, it's not exactly perfect in a way. Also, let me quickly check one thing. If I don't have this font size, I think this looks better. Okay, I'm not going to give a class name to this. Okay, so we are kind of reaching there. We are kind of trying to inverse the colors. What would be ideal is that depending on the color that you have chosen, it should give you the contrast. Like for this darkest, how does this lightest look on that? Okay, so that is something that can be a feature for later. I'm still thinking, what can we do about this text slate? If it's 500, okay, and if it is dark, okay, let's say it's fine. Yep. Okay, so we have successfully generated the color grid, which is really cool. I think we are kind of reaching the major milestone of this project. Once you have generated the colors, then one of the features that I really want and is not available is this add the secondary color, right? So right now we have reached adding, let's say, a primary color. But if I want to add a secondary color, we don't have that functionality. So the next step would be to add that. Also, fixing the button, that could be a later feature request or like a later feature that someone can work on. uh, and what about this color? So the input color is not a part of the grid right now. So we also need to fix that. We need to, or at least like have a feature which ensures that the input color is part of this generated color grid, which it is not right now. But again, that's something maybe we can look at later on. Okay. For the timing, I'm just enjoying playing with this. And also on mobile, I think this would look really cool. Going from the lightest to darkest kind of looks very good to me. Uh, okay, enough playing with that. Let's move on. So I'm going to push this and then we'll create a new issue where we allow user to add a new section. So this is your first section. We want to allow users to add new sections of colors, right? Or at least these contrast grids, so they can see 2 colors, 3 colors, 4 colors, like how many ever possible. So add a new color set, new color section, something like that. For the timing, let me push this. Okay, and which branch am I on? Yep, this is good. What did we do? We added the generate contrast grid. Nope. Okay. This time I have to remember, I have to copy this issue. So feature generate contrast grid resolves issue. This one was assigned to me and perfect. Okay, and this is done. Perfect. So we have successfully kind of finished one part of MVP. And okay, some suggestions. So the hex maybe could be generated from when you click on one of the series of colors. So you mean like when someone clicks on this grid, this should be populated here, and then based on that, it should generate the grid again? Is that correct in understanding? Yeah, perfect. Uh, okay, I understood that correctly. And yes, that could be a very nice feature request, right? We could build a feature for that, uh, which allows you to click on this and populate that here and generate it again. What UI colors does is when you click on it, it copies that particular hex. So even that's a very nice feature. Also, this color is here. So it gives you this lock button suggesting that, hey, the color that you have generated is a part of the grid, which in our case isn't yet. So, feature request later for that. Okay. And what else? What else? Naming. Yeah. So wait, let me hide this. Uh, Appreciate that. And yes, very true. Copy feature is really nice feature one. What else? What was I going to do? Yes, I was going to add the naming. Okay. So we need to add a color name and allow creating like the uh, the name of this color and add a new section. So let me call create a new issue. Uh, I forgot what was the last number. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, interesting. So 8, allow users to add more sections of colors. So now in this one, we will have some break in the yeah, we can break this functionality into like 2 or 3 things. One is uh, provide color name. I'm confused. Okay, yeah. Provide color name. Add more color sets. Yeah, I think these two should be good. Uh, Enhancement, of course. Going over to me, and that's it. Okay, let us fix this. So I am going to check out to main and hit pull everything. We haven't installed any library, right? So this should be good. I can always do npm install. Yeah, up to date. Perfect. Uh, Branching. Okay. So let me create git checkout dash b. Got to add a feature. Okay, I think this should be good enough. And cool. Let me quickly edit this one as well. Okay, a lot of chat. Let me quickly go over. Uh, I agree with this, but also this gives me a new idea, a new feature request, which is in on click of the colors. Instead of doing just the copy, it copies two things. It copies the HSL value and it also copies the RGB value. Okay. So like you click on it, it copies the hex, RGB, and HSL. So that ways, uh, when you copy a color, it gives you like all three options. That could be a feature, I guess. Uh, but we are not going to build it like right now. Okay. Uh, what were we doing? We were going to give the option of adding more color sections, right? So what could we do? What could we do? What could we do? Step one, we should move it out from here to probably like from app.jsx to its own component. Okay. So I think that would be better. Hmm. I'm still thinking. Give me a second. We should move this out definitely. Uh, okay, let's do it step by step. Okay. Inside the components, we can create a color section folder, and inside that we can create a color section.jsx. Okay, so that's our first step. Then what would be the next step? We could move over a bunch of things from here to there, but I'll quickly write it. I think that would be faster rather than diving into that mess. What do we need? So our color section, it needs a few things. It would need a initial color name. Okay, what would be the name of the color? We should also allow the functionality to delete a particular section. So on delete and on colors generated. Okay, so three functionality, three inputs here. So what is on colors generated? It would be the function to call when the colors have been generated, and when the on delete would be the function to call when one section has been deleted, and the initial color name would be basically the initial name of the color. So like primary, secondary, tertiary, accent, info, success, warning, error. Yeah, these are the things that kind of come to my mind right now. uh, are these good? Let me think again. I guess this should be it, right? Okay. So what would be the next step? So next step, we will hold the color here. So we can kind of now copy paste this part. Copy it from here, paste it right here. And now we can do this generated color as well. Copy it from there, paste it here. Uh, and for the color names, we can add a state variable for that as well. So const color name, comma set color name equals use state of whatever is the initial color name, or we can set that default to primary. Not a comma here. Yep, there we go. So okay, these are our variables at least for now. Let's create the generate. So const handle generate colors. we can use the use callback hook. I will not explain it right now, but just think of it as one of the other hooks that are available, and it will return a memoized version of the callback only if one of the inputs has changed. Something changes, this gets triggered. Uh, const, let's say trimmed color name equals to whatever is the color name dot trim it dot to lower case. Okay. uh, so trimming it and converting it to lowercase. So if someone enters like capital primary, we wanted it to be small. And if the trimmed color name is empty, in that case, if like there's no color name defined, then set the color name to be primary. Okay. And then what else? We can create a list of colors. So inside the source folder, we can create a constants folder, and inside this constants folder, we can create a index.js, and inside this, we can create a const allowed color names, and this would be an array of different colors names that are allowed. So primary, secondary, tertiary, accent, what else, success, info, success, warning, error, custom. Okay, that's the last. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 colors. So from our color palette generator, you can generate 9 colors at a time, or generate grids for 9 colors, or visualize 9 colors. I think this is good enough. Okay, if you're needing more colors than this on one website, probably bad idea. Okay, so we are exporting it from allowed color names, and now let's quickly do a validation here. If this else if, okay, else if not in allowed color names, like not allowed color name includes the trimmed color name, then we can show a toast dot error, and we can say that you have a invalid color name, use one of the following, and we will say that you can only use whatever is the in the allowed color names dot join them using a comma. And then we can just return from this. And after this, let's do some quick validation on the colors that it is proper. So if chroma dot valid of the color, in that case, set the generated color to be equal to the valid color. Okay, so if it is valid, then we are going to set the generated color to that color. Now the colors, the array of colors, right? We can move that here as well and everything. Do we? Wait, let me think. Can we move that here? Should we move that here? Okay, let's do that. So const shades equals to chroma dot scale of chroma of color dot brighten 1.5 comma, oh, this should be an array. Chroma of color dot darken 2, and where does that end? Yep, right here. So dot mode of lab, wait, oops, dot colors 11 dot map over it, and we can say the shade color should be chroma of shade color dot hex value of that dot to uppercase. Okay, so we are going to generate the shades here, and where does that end? Here, right here. Okay, now if the on colors generated function, then we can go like on colors generated. It takes in a few things. It would take the color name, which would be color name dot trim. Then it would take the base color, which would be color dot to uppercase, and we can pass it the shades, right? Okay, so that goes to our on colors generated, and right before it ends, so this was for this particular if, right? So if the color is valid, else we could just show a toast dot error invalid color input. Okay, and now what does this depend on? This would depend on multiple things. It would depend on the color, it would depend on the color name, it would depend on the on colors generated. Okay, and now this div, we can remove that and we can create a section. Okay, section with the class name of padding 4 border 2. What did we have before? Wait 1 second. This thing comes right here, just increasing the padding. Okay, now this will have a button, so button with a class name of flex, and it goes to directly at the end of the thing, end of the div, and we can say there's a button, and on click it calls the on delete, and a class name of text dash red dash 500 and px4 py2. Yep, that should be it, and this button will be called as remove button. Okay, so we have reached this part. How much time do I have left? Okay, hopefully I will be able to complete it. Div is done. The input field, where does the user add the input? So input, it would be type text, value would be the color name, on change it would basically do e set color name e dot target dot value, and we close this one. What else do we need? We need the placeholder saying color name colon primary secondary comma no, secondary dot dot dot. Yeah, I think this looks good. You can add a class name to it, so it would be border dash 2 px dash 2 py dash 1 rounded dash lg text dash center width dash, how much width do we want it to be? I think 64 is big enough, and margin bottom as 4. Perfect. So that's our input done, where the user will input the color name. We'll call the color input right here, and we'll pass the color value as color, and on change color to be equal to set color. So that's well done. Next, we will need the div of generate. We can copy that from here. So I'm going to cut this div from here till here, put it inside the color section. Now, okay, so div is good. Button, yes, of course we need the button closes. We can wrap this one into generated color. If there's a generated color and this div, okay, which closes right here, and we need to call this. Okay, and what else? So div, we got the div generated contrast grid colors, that's okay. Base color, we will also pass it the color name. Okay, so that would be equal to the color name, so that's good. And okay, so I think that should be good enough for the section. Now the prop types, definitely we need to define that quickly. So color section dot prop types would be what do we have? Initial color name, that would be prop types dot string. Not going to say it's required. On delete, it would be prop types dot function dot is required. It is always required if you have to delete it. And on colors generated, it would be prop types dot function dot is required. Need to import this, forgot to import it. Okay, so I think that should be good enough for color section. Let's go to app.jsx and make some very quick changes right here. I don't think I'll be able to complete it. Okay, but let's try. Going to delete all of this. Don't need the contrast grid and stuff right here. What we need to do is inside this one, we need to just say sections comma set sections. That would be use state of array of two things. We should pass an ID, and this should be unique. So we can just use the date dot now function, and the initial color name to be equal to primary. Okay, so two things to the section. And next we could do is const state to store all the generated colors, right? So generated colors comma set generated colors. I had that, why did I delete it? Equals to use state of initially nothing. Then we can have a button for adding a section. So add section equals to this thing, and const, we could check the existing names equals to sections dot map over it. For each section, check the s dot initial name, color name. Okay, then we can filter out all the existing color names and stuff. We can do like const available names equals to whatever is in the allowed color names dot filter out any name that is not in existing names dot includes the particular name. Okay, what am I doing here? I am trying to add an input box, and in that input box it would be pre-populated. When a user clicks on the add section, it should check what is the existing section and then populate the next one to the next color. Like, okay, so if the initial one is primary and someone clicks on add section, it should go to secondary. Then someone clicks on add section, it should go to tertiary, something like that. And then we can say const next name equals to available names of 0, or we can do like a custom dash. Okay, and now we can do a set sections where we will say takes the previous prev section, I think would be quicker, prev sections, and then it goes on to go over the prev sections and changes the id to be date dot now and initial color name to be the next name. Okay, so that's our adding a section. We can create the removing a section and stuff. I will quickly move over to const handle colors generated, which takes in the id and the color data. And in this case, we will say set generated colors to be prev colors comma and id to be color data. Okay, so handle colors generated. We haven't added exporting and stuff, maybe something to add for the future. Main is fine. Now instead of this section, which we no longer need, we can have a simple div with a class name like, let's say, flex, and flex dash wrap and justify center. That's good. And inside this div we can have a button on click, not on play, on click. It should do call the add section, and you can give it a class name of px4 py2 bg emerald 400. Okay, and add color set or color section probably, but let's see. And what next? We need to map over it, right? So just below this we can render all the sections. So we can go like sections dot map each section in a way. So like I'm calling it section, you can call it each section or anything similar. And we will call the color section that we have created. It needs a key so that it is unique. So section.id would always be unique, as I said. Initial color names would be section dot initial color name. On delete, it needs to call the remove section, but we have not created that. So actually I'm going to ignore it for now. On colors generated, actually we need to add that, right? So on delete, I could just say that it does do the console.log. Okay, and what next? We need to do the on colors generated. That is another thing there. And this one takes the color data, like that's the variable that we are creating, and then that calls the handle colors generated, passes it the section.id and the color data. And I would say that should be it. Okay, perfect. So this is done. Generated colors. We are not using generated colors anywhere yet. I thought we would have. Okay, not really. So can make this an underscore variable. Don't need that. And I guess what else? Where did we change? We changed it in color section. Let's see. Okay, there we go. What did I do? Oops, I deleted the index.css. So import dot slash app dot css. So now if I add a color set, it goes from primary to secondary. You can change this color, generate colors. You can change the above color, generate color. You can click on add and it goes to tertiary, and that's it. Okay, that was the other feature that I wanted to show you. So what have we done till now? Okay, we have successfully added more sections. Let me come back on screen. So we have successfully added more sections, which was one of the major features that we were focusing on. Because, well, adding the sections, adding the colors, that's what we wanted to do. There's also this remove, which currently does not do anything. But now that I see that we have time, we can quickly add that. So add section, just below that, you can do a const remove section. And to remove a section, we need to basically find that particular section by ID and then delete it, right? So we can just simply do, like, it takes an ID, and next, what do we need to do? We can do a set sections to be yeah, just the previous sections, such that previous sections dot filter out filter out filter out s, such that s dot id is not equal to the id. Okay, so filter out anything where the id does not match, and then we can set the set generated colors. So remove the associated generated color, right? We need to remove the associated generated color. So we can go like this, and then previous colors, and what else? What do we need to do? We can do const new colors equals to dot 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 previous colors dot dot dot. Okay, so we are going over the colors, and we need to delete it from the new colors where the ID matches, and then just return the new colors. And now the place where we were calling the console log, we can kind of change that to have this one. Yeah. So right here, we could just call the remove section and we can pass it the section.id. Okay, so I think that should work out. Let's see. So let me clear this up. Let me reload this. So if I add another section, so secondary has been added and I kind of generate these colors, and then I add another set, which is tertiary. So there's the input box with tertiary in it, uh, generating this green. And now I want to remove the secondary. So now I'm left with primary and tertiary. Okay. And now if I add a color set, that creates secondary because secondary did not exist anymore. Okay. And can I remove this? Yep. Can remove it. Can remove it. And can I remove this? Yes, that's okay. Perfect. So actually, I think that is everything that I would like to do in this session. And let me push this. I wouldn't say this is perfect. I'm not using set generated colors anywhere. So I need to use it. I need to add something. The other feature would have been to kind of show the or copy the generated colors the way they have this export button, which gives you this modal and it gives you all the colors in Tailwind format. If you want it in CSS format, it asks you for the paid subscription. But this is the next feature that could have been. And in this feature, like, we could have built this part if we had the time. But we can raise a issue for this, right? So what I would request you all is to keep an eye on the repo. I will do some cleanup. Once done, I will post it on Discord. Okay, so I'll post the link to the repo which you already have on Discord with bunch of raised issues, and then you all can start contributing to it. Another feature could be the light and dark mode. I think that's a very cool feature to have, right? So how do we add the light mode and the dark mode? That could be another thing to work on. uh, I will complete a few parts of this here and there. I Adding examples, I think this is also a very nice feature to have, so could work on that, so that a user who's going to use our website, they can quickly check on which colors, like which colors are going well with which colors, right? So that's another feature that we could work on. So these are a few issues that come to my mind right now, and I hope like we get some contribution on this. Yes, actually, yes, that was the whole reason why I created this repo, is so that you can create a pull request and for the issues that I have created, and once approved, they would count towards Hacktoberfest. So I actually checked my profile and I could see that shows that I have some PRs here. Okay, 7 PRs. So at least mine are being counted. So anything that you generate would be counted. Sorry, not generate. Anything that you contribute to any PR and stuff. So mine are being counted. So yeah, this repository is for you to contribute once I have done some changes. Okay. So I hope to see some PR commits from you all, some contributions from you all. Wait for the issues to be created, which would be done by end of day today. I'm already too tired. So give me like 1 or 2 hours. I'll clean up the repository, add a few things, maybe add what do you call add your fav icon. Okay, add a fav icon. Instead of calling it color palette generator, give it a proper name. And yeah, once that all of that is done, then create more issues. So give me time till tonight being UK time tonight. And once done, I'll share it on Discord and we'll wait for you all to submit. Any questions, anyone, for so far? I know, right? But for some reason it does, and I'm happy with it. So win win. Cheers, no problem. Okay, any questions, anyone, before we end this session? What do we have after this? I think there is today in GHW after this, but let me quickly confirm. Yeah, today in Global Hack Week Day 3, that would be headed by Steven, and yeah, that would be headed by Steven, and definitely know what's coming in today from US time perspective. And okay, there's a very good question. How should the process go like? Should we ask for permission to contribute? Yes, the way you would normally. So when the issues are created, what you could do is add a comment saying, can you please assign this to me? And it will be first come, first served basis. Also, at the same time, I would try and see that one person does not get assigned every issue. So if let's say, I don't know, I come in and I assign it to myself. The second one would be assigned to someone else from you all. Third one would be assigned to some other person. So I would try and ensure that everyone gets a fair chance to contribute to this. Uh, but yeah, I'll try and ensure. And you're welcome. I that is why I said I'll try and ensure that not one person gets every issue. Okay. This has been fun. This has been amazing. Also, this has been a very practical project, which is kind of close to my heart right now. Okay, I would like to see this to an end, a fruition, and I think this could be a very good project that could go over your resume, your portfolio, and I think I would be happy to add it to mine as well. I could always brag about the 5 stars that I got on this repository, right? I can put it on my resume, on my portfolio, and I could always say that how folks contributed to this. And similarly for you, you could say that you contributed to a very good open source project, which I will deploy. It will be deployed on Netlify by tomorrow. Okay. So this would be on Netlify. So you can take the link, you can share it with your peers and everything. Okay. So I think that's my time, folks. If there are no further questions, thank you so much. This has been amazing. MIT licensed project, so you can always fork and build your own. Clean up the README, that's also on my list. Uh, yeah, a lot of things, let's say. Okay. I will also add comments to things as I had mentioned earlier. We'll also add the generation of colors, not generation, copying of colors model and stuff. So yeah, cool. Thanks so much, everyone. See you around in the next GHW. And which is the next one? I think the next one is the career one. Let me confirm. I'm excited about what's the next one. Yep, that is the career week. So I will see you around in career week where we will spend some time exploring careers. Me personally. But you still have 5 more days of GHW left. So definitely make the best of it. There are much more upcoming sessions, which would be like really nice. I am 100% sure about it. Wow, this looks amazing. This is wow. Okay, that Those are some very big sessions upcoming your way. So definitely make the best of it. Okay. So thank you so much once again, everyone. Appreciate all the thanks in the chat. Really, really, really happy about this. Okay. Cheers, everyone. See ya. Bye bye.